In this episode of Frontier Fundamentals, we will tackle some wet work. No, that's nothing sordid or dirty, it's just a slang term for killing people for money. The Bulletin Board is where we begin. This isn't just a place where you can buy and sell slaves by the ton, or transport wanted criminals. You can also find blatant assassination contracts like this one. Wanted, someone for a removal job. Governor Bradley needs removing from the Sigreeth system. Payment, 19,500 credits. Well, at least it's profitable. I think this is actually one of the darkest dystopian futures in gaming. It's also casually amoral. If you've got enough money, you can buy your way out of murder charges. But the first thing we should do is modify our ship for our new Grizzly vocation. Our fuel scope won't be much use, so I'm going to get rid of that. And we can use the space to buy a shield generator. Fuel scoop is 6 tons and the shield generator is 4, so that gives us 2 extra tons of space. Now, one thing that would be very nice for this kind of job is a military drive. However, we can't afford it right now. Ideally, a class 2 military drive would be good, but that's 45,000 credits and we do not have enough, so we'll have to kill some people before we can manage that. The advantage of a military drive is that it gives you a significant speed advantage, which is always useful when tracking a target through hyperspace. Speaking of which, we will also need a hyperspace cloud analyzer, which we can find up here. It's only 1 ton, and this is a device which allows us to discover where a ship has jumped to by analysing the orange hyperspace cloud that is left behind when a ship jumps. So, let's go back to the Bulletin Board here in Duval City. And we indeed find this Assassination contract for a very nice looking fee. If we had a lower elite rating, it's likely they wouldn't be interested, but since we're about up to above average, seen here, we can apply for the job and get this dialogue. It's all pretty straightforward. Just the first option is just taking the contract. Then you can, first it's worth just reading what they have down here. We want Governor Bradley in the Sigreeth system, and then he gives the sector XY coordinates killed for that much money. Look, they even just say it, not even removed, just killed. Yeah, and then you can ask more specific questions like, how do I find Governor Bradley? They will be leaving Fortress Strauss in the Sigreeth system at a very specific time on a very specific day. At least these guys, if they didn't have such exacting schedules, then maybe they wouldn't get killed so often. What ship will they be travelling on? Governor Bradley will be travelling on a Panther Clipper, registration, blah blah blah. That's useful to know, so you can recognise them among all the other Panther Clippers. Actually, you don't see any others, but anyway. And what ship may I carry? When must I carry out the contract? The attempt must be made at Fortress Strauss on the 31st of March, or soon after, as we have no other reliable information. Basically, that means if you don't kill him then, you lose. You know, you don't get the money, and it counts as a failure, and people won't trust you to kill people in the future. Now, there's a couple of things you want to watch out for. Well, a few things, but there's a couple here. One is that the ship is a Panther Clipper. That is the biggest ship in the game, and it will be likely armed with a plasma accelerator, missiles, perhaps even an energy bomb, and it will take a lot of firepower to destroy, including probably a lot of shield generators. So, with our measly Viper defense craft, 1 megawatt beam laser and limited shielding, this is too big of a fish for us, or indeed too big of a cat. It's a panther, yeah. Another problem with this contract is the location. It's fairly close by, but if we take a look at the system, which I've already got selected here, we can see that it's one of these complex multi-star systems. And the location we need to get to is here on this terraformed planet in orbit of Sigreeth E. Now, as I've covered in previous episodes, this means we will probably emerge hundreds of AU away from the starport that we need to get to. And this isn't necessarily a problem for time, since we have until the end of March and it's only February. But if you arrive too soon in a system, then the target will notice and get spooked, meaning that even if you destroy the target ship, it won't count since the target won't have actually boarded it. So, since it will take us such a long time to get to the starport from the outskirts of the system, this makes this kind of mission basically impossible. Another thing to watch out for, which isn't actually a problem here, is the date the contract has to be carried out. Sometimes they'll ask for things to be done in a couple of days, which is pretty much never enough time given the hyperspace travel time, so keep an eye out for that. And always save before you take on any contract. So, there aren't any other suitable contracts in this bulletin board, so we're going to have to look elsewhere. You can go to other systems or just check out the other starports in the system. Fortunately, this system has quite a lot of starports, so let's check them out. So I found a decent contract here in Baker Terminal. How appropriate. He wants us to kill Mr. Singh of Patrick Corp in the Zalagra system for a nice big round figure of 10,000 credits. How do I find Mr. Singh of Patrick Corp? They will be leaving O'Connor Depot in the Zalagra system. There's the coordinates at that time on the 28th of February. What ship will they be travelling on? Mr. Singh of Patrick Corp. Why do we have to call him that? Just Mr. Singh. Anyway, we'll be travelling on a transporter, registration number, blah, blah, blah. Now, a transporter is a medium-sized ship, usually for use for ferrying cargo and passengers. And it's not really designed for combat, and it will make a nice, slow, brick-shaped target. When must I carry out the contract? Yeah, 28th of Feb, blah, blah, blah. They kind of tell you that already in the how do I find him, but yeah. You can say, sorry, I'm not going that way, then hang up, or just hang up. It doesn't really make any difference. Now, like I said, before taking any contract, it's always a good idea to save. Sometimes things can go wrong through no fault of your own, and it can be a bit buggy, especially if you arrive in the system too early. So, let's just save. I recommend, as always, using a staggered saving system with these numbers afterwards, which is, yeah. So let's accept the contract. Okay, I'll take it. Excellent. 10,000 credits will be paid on your successful return. Good luck. Now this opens up a new contract thing in our F3 menu cycle. And you can see some details here. That's the description of the contract, where to return to, where it will be, and the time, and the information on the target itself, and how much you will be paid. It will also display here the word done when you've actually managed to carry it out. So if you think you've done it and it's not showing done, then something's gone wrong, and you're not going to get the money for the contract. So let's launch and head for the Zalagra system. We need to get there by the 28th of February, which shouldn't be a problem. 10,000 credits of bloody money will be ours once we've killed Mr. Singh in cold blood, and also the innocent crew of the ship. But I guess we left behind morality a long time ago. The planet the target is located at has no breathable atmosphere, so the spaceport is an underground complex. Anyway, I'm going to head to the station in orbit rather than the spaceport itself that the target is at, and refuel there. Alright, I've refueled and I've got a full cargo bay full of hydrogen fuel for our hyperspace jumping. And now I'm going to head down to the spaceport where our target is waiting for us. Let's zoom in to O'Connor Depot. Set the autopilot and launch. And look at the date. 14th of February. What a lovely time to be planning a murder. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the autopilot to take me there, but I'm going to land outside the port and wait for the target to emerge. Now let's just set the autopilot and zoom with the the Star Dreamer so that we can get there instantly. Now, my autopilot will take me down, but I don't want it to do that. I'm going to wait for it to settle me into a roughly horizontal position, and now I'm going to attempt a manual landing. Now set the engines to manual, then turn the set speed down to 0. Now you will just hover here thanks to the ship's automatic thrusters and gently descend. So we don't want to descend right here, we want to descend slightly off to the side. So set a direction you want to go in, and then just slightly increase your speed to a few hundred kmh. And one thing, let's pause here for a second. Then if you go into the external view and look from above, you can see exactly where you are in relation to the spaceport. So let's just thrust forward a little bit and There, that's a good place. And set our speed to 0. And now we can let gravity take us down. Also, got to make sure you have your landing gear out, because otherwise you will crash. Now you can... oh, one more thing. Let's turn ourselves so that we are facing the spaceport so we can see when our target emerges. Let's just turn us around there. Okay, and you want to get yourself level with the horizon. Now, as you can see, we're descending at relatively low speed, and we'll get there eventually like that. But you can speed this up a bit if you turn the engines off. As you can see, our velocity indicator goes down, and we start to fall like a stone, albeit a stone on a world with very low gravity. Now, you don't want to let this accelerate you too much, so you can keep turning it off and on. You can hear the thrusters take effect there. You can actually see it if we turn off the engines, zoom in a little, and then let ourselves get some speed up. We should be able to see the little bottom thrusters, so to speak. There you go. Isn't that cool? So let's just leave the engines off for a bit. On a planet like this, the gravity is so low that you don't have to worry too much. As long as you're going at a reasonable speed when you hit the ground, you will not crash. So let's get down to... you just have to get a sense for it. Caution is always best if you're new to it, of course. Now, they don't seem to mind you landing right outside the spaceport. This is called landing rough. You can see I can get back to normal safe falling speed within a couple of seconds, so there's no need to worry. Just put it on manual again. So yeah, the reason for doing this is that if you dock at the station where your target is docked, you won't be able to leave at the same time as the target, and the traffic control won't let you leave. So that's going to be a problem when we need to leave and kill him when he gets out. It also saves on the berthing fee that you have to pay for every day that you wait. It also interrupts the Star Dreamer, so we have quite a while to wait. We have 2 weeks to wait in this. Is it 2 weeks? I think it is. 28th of Feb, yeah. So, we're nearly down. Let's just do this engine off, engine on thing a little bit more, and we will be down. Okay. Gently does it. Come on. I ain't got all day. I've got to sit here for 2 weeks. Quickly. Yeah, you might be tempted to put on the Star Dreamer to speed this up, but it can kind of bug out a bit, and if you put it on level 3, for example, you won't descend at all. Anyway, look, there we are, landed. As you can see, it says there, landed rough. And I believe this is our first manual landing in this series, so a little bonus there. Anyway, now that we're here, we play the waiting game. Oh, the waiting game sucks. Anyone want to play Hungry Hungry Hippos?